All right, folks, another quick recap here. Joe and Charlie, step 4, part 1. Made a fearless and searching moral inventory of ourselves. What are we hoping to get out of this? This is it. Prior to doing a 4th step for the first time, you've done step 3. You've made this decision to turn your will and lives over to the care of God as you understood them. Problem is, what that really means is we want Him to direct our thinking. And we can't let God direct our thinking right now because we've got a wall between us and God. What is this wall made of? It's made of resentments. It's made of fears. It's made of harms. It's made of toxic thinking. Step 4 allows us to pull that out as an inventory and get towards purging that out of us so we can finally have a direct connection to God. We're going to work on tearing down that brick wall. This requires immediate action after step 3. At this point, you should have a sponsor. You should be working with that sponsor. We're going to talk about how to do this in detail and some recaps that are coming up. But generally, just to get your thinking caps going here, we're going to ask some questions. What flawed thinking has blocked you from God up to this point? Is it a resentment? Is it a fear? Is it replaying something very negative that happened to you? Or is it just purely selfish driven thinking? Can you give an example of how your flawed thinking has harmed others? Well, remembering that thinking leads to action. This is really easy for us to do. I can think of several examples just in a few seconds, going back and replaying the tape in my head and the things that I've done. I don't want you to sit and soak in this and dwell in it forever and beat yourself up. No, that's not the point of this exercise. The point is just to get you thinking a little bit, because we're going to get to nitty gritty as we move forward into detail with what we're going on in step 4. An inventory allows us to check in with our emotions or thoughts. Let's talk about emotions for a second. Have you ever had an emotion build up to the point where it explodes and you're lashing out at the environment around you? Does that do anyone any good? I swear my mom used to be the king of this. She would be yelling at me for something and then bring up something that happened 18 months ago. You ever been in that boat? Yeah. Well, turns out I was a lot like her in that sense as I grew up because that's what I learned from her. It's a terrible way to exist. It's a terrible way. We're going to help you with that. In conclusion, the 12 steps is a positive experience. Let me clarify that. If you're honest and do this to the best of your ability, it's a positive experience. If you want to do this in a half manner like some of us alcoholics like to do, you're not going to have that. I'm just going to tell you bluntly. Each step worked makes you feel a little better. At this point, you should be feeling better. You've gone through 25% of the steps. Step 4 is one of the biggest steps. First 3, there's not a lot going on. We're going to get some pretty heavy duty work here. But I assure you, big changes happen during step 4. And I'm not talking about negative ones. I'm talking about positive changes. You'll start seeing changes within yourself.